I'm 680 News Senior Business Editor Mike Eppel. Today on the markets, we saw the Canadian dollar climb in reaction to the now trilateral negotiations on NAFTA. We have the dollar at 77.5 cents U.S. Highest level we've seen in a couple of months here as the anticipation builds that Canada can get a deal done with the U.S. and Mexico after that bilateral tentative deal was announced yesterday. Too much market fanfare. We saw stocks hit records again on Wall Street today, and the Canadian dollar and Canadian auto parts producers rising as well in anticipation that the Trump administration will not have to impose tariffs on Canadian auto exports to get a trade agreement in place. Now, it's going to be tight to do so. The White House talking about a Friday deadline to have something in on paper, so we'll see if, in fact, that can be done. Some interesting and limited stock market reaction today to a news story that made quite a bit of reaction for Canadian consumers. The fact that Air Canada and WestJet are raising their baggage fees up by $5 to $30 for the first checked bag, and in some cases up to $50 as the airlines respond to higher fuel costs. The fuel bill has gone up quite dramatically. Air Canada had warned in its earnings update recently that it would be raising some fees to offset rising costs. And WestJet is coming off its first quarterly loss in 13 years and has been cutting back on some routes. So again, raising fees for baggage on its economy-based fares. More earnings in from a couple of big Canadian banks today, more billion-dollar-plus profits. The Bank of Montreal earned $1.5 billion in its third quarter, which was up quite substantially from last year, up by more than 25%. The BMO did not change its dividend payment. Meantime, Scotiabank lagged estimates, if you can call it that, with a profit of $1.9 billion. Had some one-time costs that equated into the earnings. It did, however, raise its quarterly dividend to shareholders. Another record high today for shares of Amazon.com. Company hit 1,934 plus, and that gives its market value at almost $950 billion. So will Amazon be the next to join Apple at that $1 trillion market threshold? Amazon Canada, meantime, had an announcement today regarding Prime customers. Instead of getting a yearly Prime membership at $79, they're going to be offering it monthly at $7.99, a little bit more flexibility for people who want to subscribe to Prime, maybe for Christmas to get delivery, but another aggressive move by Amazon Canada in the retail market space. And cannabis stocks finally cooled off a little bit today. They've been hitting records day after day. Today, they were down in some cases by as much as 10%. They've still got multi-billion-dollar market values. Nevertheless, investors taking a little bit of profits and taking those cannabis stocks off the recent highs. From the 680 Newsroom, I'm Mike Eppel for City News.